Jordan Poole was in the headlines after his trade to the Washington Wizards, but did you know he was actually offered to the Toronto Raptors in this ridiculous trade that you'd have to see it to believe it? Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Amateur Hour TV, the second channel in the Amateur Hour Production Network. And on this channel, we go through general NBA content, but also additional Raptors content just like this. So drop a like if you find yourself enjoying, and subscribe for more content like this all throughout the offseason. But Jordan Poole, I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a blockbuster trade, but he has ended up on the Washington Wizards. You guys already know about this trade. The trade that sent Jordan Poole to the Wizards and sent, of course, Chris Paul to the Golden State Warriors in a crazy, unexpected deal here that also included the Warriors having to send over some draft assets to make it happen as well. The trade in total, if you just happen to not be aware of it, it was Jordan Poole to the Wizards along with Ryan Rollins, a 2030 first-round pick that was protected, and a 2020 second-round pick. The Warriors only get Chris Paul in this deal. So, a year after giving Jordan Poole the big extension to stay in Golden State, you know, they were high off that championship, I get it. But a year after giving Jordan Poole the extension, the Warriors have to trade a first and a second to get off of his contract. Now, for the Wizards, I mean, you might have wanted to waive Chris Paul. So a guy that you might have waived, you end up getting 2 picks, Ryan Rollins, whatever, and hey, a gamble signing on Jordan, or gamble player on Jordan Poole, that if he figures his game out, that's an extremely talented player, a young player with lots of room to grow. I love this deal for the Washington Wizards. I really don't like this deal for the Warriors. I don't understand why people are making it such a big deal. I don't see Chris Paul being too big of a factor. Apparently they're going to start him. I mean, use him as the second unit guy to run the bench unit when they're on, but apparently they're going to start him. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. We'll see how all of that works out. But not a big fan of this for the Warriors, big fan of this for the Washington Wizards. But what you came here for, from the title and from the thumbnail, I imagine, was Jordan Poole was actually getting offered around the league to numerous teams at the time. The Warriors were keen on getting rid of their once coveted young player that they drafted. And one of the teams that they offered Jordan Poole to was the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors, of course, are lacking in the guard position, and Jordan Poole could have filled in. He could have occupied a position for the Toronto Raptors. But what I don't like about Jordan Poole, because as you can tell, I'm ragging on him a lot here, is the shot selection, which is poor. He is a turnover machine, and he can't play defense. Like, talented player, no head, no brain. So, not too big on him. But the Warriors, they went for the home run ball. They went for the full court heave. And they requested a trade package to the Raptors that involved Jordan Poole, and they wanted to acquire OG Anunoby. They tried to get OG Anunoby out of Jordan Poole. OG, to say here, Jordan Poole, I mean, OG Anunoby on Golden State would have been utterly sensational. Like Curry, Thompson, then you add in OG Anunoby's shooting and defense, along with Draymond Green and Kevon Looney. That is an astonishingly good fit. But Jordan Poole going the other way. What would the Raptors have to get to actually accept a deal that involved Jordan Poole for OG Anunoby? At the trade deadline, Masai Ujiri was looking for 3 first-round picks and a player. Not just any player, like a good young player with room to develop, like a good bench piece that could develop into a starter. So Jordan Poole kind of fits that bill, although he's much more expensive than what you'd want there. And that's the problem. Teams are willing to offer the Raptors 3 first-round picks, but I think in this scenario, if you were offered 3 first-round picks and Jordan Poole for OG Anunoby, I think you still take no. The Golden State Warriors had to trade a first, it was protected, but a first and a second to get off the Jordan Poole contract and acquire a guy who's on his last legs. Look, I don't want to be disrespectful to Chris Paul, a Hall of Famer, but he's not what he used to be. The Warriors had to trade Poole and 2 picks to get him. They had to what I got out of this situation that the Warriors had to give picks to get off that contract. That's how I look at that Chris Paul trade. So knowing this, my God, what would they have to give up to get OG Anunoby? Would it take 4 picks? Would it take another player? Would it take like Kuminga and Poole and picks? This is the type of thing we'd have to see, because there's just no way the Raptors would have any interest really in taking Jordan Poole on. So the Warriors what were they thinking with this entire situation? What were they thinking with this whole situation? The Raptors, I get it. We're in a bit of a tough situation with positions, with players, trying to get the most out of this core. Doesn't mean getting rid of one to fill out the depth. Doesn't mean letting one walk in for agency like Fred VanVleet. All these conversations need to be had. All these conversations need to happen. But ultimately, Jordan Poole was going to solve nothing. And unless the Warriors are willing to cough up a ton of picks to make it happen, which maybe they were, and we don't know exactly what the whole pick situation was. But according to this report, the Raptors rejected the deal, and the Warriors obviously had to look elsewhere. And I like the first comment there. The Raptors reportedly rejected a Jordan Poole for OG Anunoby trade from the Warriors. And the first comment, well, obviously. There's no indication of picks were involved. For the sake of Golden State, for the sake of the sanity I imagine they have, I hope there were picks involved as well. But Masai Ujiri was never going to bite at this one. Yeah, I'd rather deal with the point guard problem we have right now than have to deal with Jordan Poole's antics and that contract as well. And it meant coughing up OG frickin' Anunoby, all defense, second team this season. So what do you guys make of this whole trade ordeal? What do you think the Raptors would have had to have gotten from the Warriors to trade OG Anunoby in a trade package around Jordan Poole? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Drop a like if you enjoyed, and check the links around my head for all the other channels in the Amateur Hour Production Network. Red is Amateur Hour Sports for Raptors content more formal than this. Gold is Amateur Hour Reactions, the best stream highlights from the streams I do on Amateur Hour Sports, the red one. And the green is Amateur Hour Bets. I sometimes post educational sports betting content. I'll see you again very soon for another video on Amateur Hour TV.